Gating is not something typically done with ambient microphones, but I do actually want to talk about that because this is something interesting. I really enjoy gating my room mics. And the way that I like to do that is I typically do it after I've edited the toms and once I've set up a snare turbo. I don't have a snare turbo set up yet, so I'm just going to do that from the primary snare mic. But I will do a bus send. Let's do bus 11 sounds good to me. And let's set that to be pre-fader, 0 decibels. And then now let's also copy that onto our rack high by pressing Alt and grabbing the bus send and onto the floor high. In theory, I've already edited the floors and snares for the whole song. This isn't going to be super accurate because I'm not dealing with gated edited ones and it's the raw tracks. And then I'm going to go down to my big room mic and let's solo the big room mic and put a go to the dynamic stuff, and then we will put let's use the digigate. Okay, so bypass it for a second. Refresh your memory on what this microphone sounds like. Cool. Now let's do a sidechain thing. So I'm going to enable the sidechain by saying I want the key insert or the key input, and then my key input is going to be that bus 11. So now the gating threshold on these room mics is no longer controlled by the audio signal within the room mic, but by the external sidechain. So I'm sending the signals from the snare and the toms into the external sidechain of the gate, and I'm going to use that to control. I'm going to use that to control how this gate operates. So we've got this little handy tool just to monitor what the sidechain is within this plugin. So let's hear that. So that's the signal that's going to control the gate on the room mics. I'm not going to bother to use any of these filters on there, and I'm going to set the hold and release super fast to start with, and then the attack. If you remember from yesterday, we actually calculated what the offset was between the snare mic and the room mics, and it was about 15 milliseconds. So I'm going to start with my attack at 15 milliseconds. Otherwise, when the snare causes the gate to open on the room mic, it'll actually, since sound moves slow and electricity moves fast, it'll actually open the gate 15 milliseconds before the room mics hear the attack of the snare. So I'm delaying the attack by that offset. So let's hear what that sounds like. Let's start from the beginning of the song because it's a little slower. Sounds pretty weird, right? But let's start adjusting our thresholds and particularly our range and ratio, and hear how that sounds. Okay, so that's pretty gentle. What this does is this helps remove cymbals and room mics, cymbals from the room mics. So we're getting more drum tone from the room mics and a little bit less cymbal tone. And I'm going to increase the release time a little bit just to get a little bit more decay out of that. And then let's take a listen to that in bypass and then with it enabled. It's a bit more heavy-handed than I usually do, but you can hear how it does clean up the sound of the room mics a little bit more. It makes it a little bit more snare and toms focused.